Hi everyone, Chris here, and this is my video on gender in today's society. So let's begin with defining gender. Gender is basically a social construct that dictates how each sex should behave, dress, and speak. So society has predetermined the rules of what makes a man and what makes a woman. But in today's society, there exists a much larger number of transgendered people and gender fluid people who have changed these rules and are basically saying that expression and freedom of expression can't be limited to sex, and that binary sex way of thinking is wrong in a sense because sex is a very fluid thing and there's a spectrum of sexuality that everybody falls on, and there really is no finite definition of what either sex should be. And you can see this as throughout history what's acceptable for men and what's acceptable for women has changed. You know, hundreds of years ago, like the 18th century, men wore wigs and face powder and high heels, and these are things that in today's age would be considered maybe a cross-dressing activity. Biologically, sex can be defined as your combination of your gametes, your X and Y chromosomes, females being XX, males being XY. But even in biology, we see kind of an ambiguity and a fluidity between the two sexes when you have disorders in the sex chromosome, such as Klinefelter's XXY syndrome, where you have an extra X, or Turner syndrome, where there's losses of X. So you really can't define either gender as one thing, because the genders go back and forth a lot. And when you look outside of humans, especially in plants, you get a lot of hermaphrodites, species that exhibit both genders. So you really can't explain that with a binary definition of gender either. So basically the overall problem in today's society is that transgendered people are misrepresented and discriminated against, and they're just fighting for social equality, which they deserve, because freedom of expression shouldn't be limited to freedom of sexual expression. And biologically, a transgendered woman should be considered a woman, and a transgendered man should be considered a man, because that's how they're choosing to express their traits. If somebody had the genes for brown and blue eyes, and they exhibit brown eyes, you're not going to say, no, you're a blue-eyed person. You're going to say they're a brown-eyed person because they're showing brown eyes. So even if someone genetically is XY and is male, but they choose to phenotypically express themselves the best they can as female, you should still consider them female, because that is their choice biologically and personally, and it's not some form of mental psychosis, and these transgender people just need to be better understood by their peers.